right, and
We on the air?
mm-hmm. All right. Okay, this is The Grass is Greener on WXRW 104.1 FM in Milwaukee. And a little bit of a rough start there. I am the host of the program, Gary Grass. With me is my co-host, Babette Gruneau.
And who just came sliding in on some mud. And so, well, you at least don't have to see the results because it's radio. We have with us today, our guest is Roger D. Harris, who's with the Task Force on the Americas, the U.S. Peace Council, and Venezuela Solidarity Network. He's often writes for Venezuela Analysis, Counterpunch, and various other publications. Welcome, Roger Harris.
Who isn't actually here.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, we just got on Zoom. He's not here in the room, so.
Oh, shall I go get our other guest?
I guess you can go run around the corner and get our other guest who you're going to.
I will do so. And
fortunately, she did arrange a backup, so
yes.
we have someone else.
Maybe you can try to find out what happened to our.
Yeah,
I just announced.
I think I'm going to kind of extemporize a little bit here because I think that's what I kind of have to do. I'm now watching her. She is walking. She's at the door, and there she goes, getting our other guest. Walking down the street. Okay, well, that's exciting, and I am monitoring the Zoom to see if if Mr. Harris actually does show up. Harris, it sounds like we haven't had him on the program before, but I think he would be a very good guest. He has co-authored several things with John Perry, who is a guest on our show several times already, a good friend of the show, a guy in Nicaragua with the Solidarity down there, and he's written some things for Venezuela Analysis and People's Dispatch and other Counterpunch with Mr. Harris. So we were going to talk about some Latin America stuff, and maybe we still will. Maybe he'll pop in the door. Otherwise, Babette has gone to go get Ihsan Atta, who has also been on the show a couple of times, Palestinian here in Milwaukee. I don't know what precisely we're going to talk about, but obviously there's a lot we could discuss because, after all, Palestine. So yeah, he was hanging out and chilling down the street, and I see him coming back now. So yay! We'll have to get him a microphone, and yes, having a nice casual walk up and through the door here. So yes, he's hello, Ihsan. Hi.
How are you?
Oh, well, I am doing as well as can be expected, I guess, under the circumstances. I've just turned on what I think is the mic in front of you.
We have our other guest who we had planned. I ran around the corner to get.
I was at the hookah joint.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, there we go. And it looks like his mic works, too.
Yes.
So.
We have Ihsan Atta, who is a local businessman and a longtime activist on Palestine. His family is from Palestine. So I'll let him do any other introductions he wishes.
I really don't have too much. It's always difficult, I say, to introduce yourself or talk about yourself, but I am Palestinian. My parents came from Palestine. Both parents were born in Palestine. My brother and one sister were born in Palestine. And kind of a long story, I mean, it didn't get too long, but my grandfather would come back and forth. from Palestine, and he actually passed away here. So my grandfather came from. Sorry.
Yeah,
my
I was
br-
going to tell you to do that.
Oh, that's
but
okay.
we got, fortunately, I don't have to because we have
You got
people
people to
running
tell you.
out from the back room saying, "Can't hear him. Can't.
Yeah.
Well, have him talk louder.
Get closer.
Get closer."
And
to the
usually
mic."
I'm loud, so.
Yeah, I was afraid to turn up your volume too much because I knew you might.
I know I
have
start
a
to
little,
talk loud all of a
Oh,
sudden.
you know. So okay.
So,
all
but
right.
yeah, my grandfather came in 1920. My father was actually in the U.S. Army. He was a medic, and so he served. And after he finished serving, he had went back to Palestine. He got married to my mom, and he would go back and forth. But they were here visiting in 1967, and it was during the time of the 1967 war broke
Oh,
out,
yeah.
and so they weren't able to return to Palestine.
Oh, wow. I did not realize that's how you
Yeah.
you all got to be here.
That's how we.
So
we
you're
ended up-
stranded.
So we were stranded here. But then later on, they were able to get, because when they would travel back to visit, because we still had a home there, we had land there, we had a house that was built, there, but we weren't able, or they weren't, I should say, able to stay there for more than 3 months at a time, because they would
Wow.
only, the illegal occupation would only give you a 3-month visa if they gave you that, and then you would have to leave the country to renew it, and the
Lord knows
interesting
if they'd
thing,
renew it.
renew the visa. Now the
Yeah.
interesting thing is, anytime they left to renew it, they would pack everything up because it was never guaranteed. So if they didn't pack everything up and they left, and you can just cross over to Jordan. That's what they would do, because you have to leave the country and then come back in. There were times where they'd leave the country expecting to get a visa to come back in, and they couldn't. And so then,
Yeah.
they knew then they had to always pack everything
Wow.
to return. So, but now they were able to get. My father's passed away since, but my mom has Palestinian citizenship as well as an American citizenship, so that she's able to stay there for indefinite periods of time
Oh,
if she
that's
wants
good.
to. So she spends half the year there.
That's nice.
So yeah, well, yeah,
Nice, and maybe a
nice,
little
nice that you
dangerous.
don't have to leave your house every 3 months and get permission to
Yeah.
come back to your
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, that's no way to. I mean, I wouldn't want to rent an apartment under those terms, but
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's just sad because you have a property. You were there. This house was built prior to the establishment or the illegitimate establishment
Yeah.
of the
Right.
illegal pariah state. How many adjectives can I use?
yeah, okay, yeah.
So it's frustrating knowing that you have a home there, yet you can't go there to your own home.
Yeah.
And mind you, even though they're able to go and she's able to go there now, there's still land that's owned that was confiscated without any type of reimbursement or anything. That's just taken
Wow.
by the occupation. So sometimes you drive by and when I go visit and my mom would be like, and when my dad was alive, we used to literally, especially when he got older, we used to just drive him around. And then sometimes it was nice and sometimes it was sad because they'd be like,
Right.
that's our land, but we can't,
Right.
we don't have access to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is sad.
So
That would be.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, I don't know what. I'm glad to hear all of that. I mean, it's like, we've known each other for a long, long time. I've never even heard that story. So,
So my brother and sister,
Yes,
Right.
so they came here when they were 2 and 3 years old.
Oh.
So when they came to visit, they were 2 and 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I can tell you stories of traveling back to Palestine when I was young, and because myself and my other sister that you know were born here, even in the airports, we were treated differently. I mean, I remember when we were, I think, 4, and Pian was what? I think she's 3 years older than me, so 7. And there was some issue with a flight where it was delayed. They were willing to put us in a hotel, 2 children, minors, but my mom couldn't.
Oh, my gosh.
Is that crazy? And my mom's like, I'm not going to give you my kids.
She
We're
doesn't
going to
know.
all
Right.
sleep in the airport,
Yeah, well,
basically.
staying together.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it is. it is this privilege that you have as an American. I mean, I just went abroad for the first time in 35 years, right? Because I mean, it's like I never travel, and now I have a little bit more resources to be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
So I did this trip down to Mexico.
Awesome.
And it's like, it's just like, they had a guy there who was like, just sort of like had his eyes peeled for U.S. passports to say, to pull you off and say, oh, no, you go directly. You don't have to go through all this crap, right?
Well, listen,
so,
if you want to talk about entitlement and lack of entitlement, okay, and I don't mean to cut you off, but it's funny that you say that, because you travel to other countries, and some countries may give you privilege, or I think in the past the American passport was respected. I don't think it is anymore. I don't think anyone respects the United States passport anymore. But to your point, as an American citizen, when I travel to Palestine and occupied Palestine, even with an American citizenship, anyone that's Palestinian, when you get off the plane and go through customs, we know the process. We call it the VIP room. So when you get to the customs window and they see your passport, and I mean, they know you're Palestinian, they just point. They don't even say anything to you. They just point. And sometimes you want to just go there, right. But you need to basically kind of check in. But you're not able to go through. But if you were, and if you're Jewish, you're able to go through, like without question. Right. But if you're Palestinian, doesn't matter. Without exception, you get directed to what we call the VIP room. So, and it's basically just like an open room and with a bunch of chairs, and you're just sitting there. And then, once they call you, sometimes you're interrogated. Sometimes you're there for hours on end. Some people are there for like 12 hours, 15 hours.
Ooh, that's a
some
long
people
time.
are 4 hours, and then some people, might not be too long. But the process of just being singled out, and you think that because you have an American citizenship, and you're like, wait a second, but my tax dollars is paying for your salary, buddy. Your country wouldn't exist if my tax dollars were paying, for it to exist, albeit illegitimately. They still have no respect for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like $500 billion later, and they're still. I mean, they've been like listing all of the U.S. citizens that have been killed now, with like no investigation, or like manage our own investigation and change our story 8 times, and it's like it's the fact is. You can be an American down there, but if you're the wrong kind of American, they'll still kill you.
The last few months, we had just the last few months. We had two young teenagers from Florida that were murdered. We had
we had the executive director of CARE Florida on to talk about one of those, right?
Sure.
I mean, it's like we talk about that particular incident, right? One of those people was an American and got all the attention, but there were 2 people that were actually killed.
Sure.
So there's
even Shadina Baraxa, the reporter.
So the privilege there was, that after they killed you, there was news reportage about it because you're an American, right?
Wait, was there? Because I don't remember seeing it.
Well, you weren't in Florida.
Maybe in Florida.
Yeah. We didn't. So we told her we didn't see it, but she said she saw it down there.
If it was on the flip side, it would have been on every local channel in every city in the United States. If it was, someone that wasn't Palestinian.
Right. And I mean, if Shireen Abu Akleh hadn't been killed by Israelis, right? But it had been.
She was target assassinated. That was a sniper. Sniper that shot her in the neck and killed her. Yeah. So that's not like she was. Listen. If she'd been dismembered by Saudi Arabia, we would have given it more attention. Okay, right? But I'm going to be annoying because I'm going to be very particular about the words that we use because it wasn't like she was killed. If you're going to say killed, we're going to say the Israeli occupation forces assassinated her, because
Right.
it wasn't like she was killed. Because what does killed mean? Did she get hit by a car? You know,
Right.
did a
Well, I mean, we're better than the mainstream media because
Yeah, of course.
in the mainstream media, Palestinians just died. You know, just like I don't know,
But I
like
see it,
some
you know,
genetic condition or something.
because we know, you know, we're kind of on
Right.
the same page.
Right.
We're aware.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys are very aware of what's going on. So when we speak with one another, when we're discussing issues, we kind of speak freely, loosely, because we understand each other.
Right.
But for the
Yeah.
listeners
Yes.
that may
Yeah,
not
yeah.
truly
That's a good
understand, when
point.
they're like, hey, I wonder, you know, they might just think, oh, a reporter got killed. She's just one of the 238 reporters
Yeah.
that have been murdered and have been target assassinated by the Israeli occupation forces for what they're doing, for bringing awareness to the occupation or bringing awareness to the genocide that's taking place
Yeah.
right now.
We would not be seeing all those killings, all the murders
Yeah,
without
and just
Yeah.
2 days ago, Anas al-Sharif.
Although I think in fairness to the entity, I think
Which, the illegal one?
the illegal
Okay,
the
okay.
illegal
Just, I just wanted to-
settler-colonialist pseudo-state.
Okay.
I think that of those 238, I think probably at this point, I don't know, maybe only 210 were assassinated. I think, at this point, there are people that are just dropping dead out of hunger where they weren't particularly targeted, right?
I think
So
most
I
of
think
the
for the
press
reporter
has
ones,
been assassinations.
yeah, they've been
I
assassinated.
mean, I know they have their AI that locates the reporters and tracks them to their houses and kills them when
Not
they're
just
with their
AI,
family,
but
right?
they track through cell phone usage, so they know.
Wow.
Right.
So with Anas, and I want to say, and I don't want to be disrespectful to the other, I think it was 4 or 5 that were
Yes,
part of his press crew that were also murdered,
Yeah, they were
along
all
with
in-
him. But
in
Anas al-Sharif
one
was
tent in
especially
front of-
known and
Yeah.
loved and considered a hero by the entire Gazan community, because he did not stop speaking and showing what was happening. And his father got killed, was bombed. He was threatened continually, just like a lot of the other reporters have been. And I think it just wasn't the right time because they were worried about maybe bad press or whatever. But now with the plan that Netanyahu has to occupy Gaza, they don't want, and the means that they're going to use to do it, not that, it can get any worse, but it can, because every day that we say it can't get worse, it does get worse, right? So because they don't want media there to showcase what's happening, how it's being done, and because he was so well known, the whole tent was bombed, and it was Hellfire missiles that were shot to kill them, and it wasn't like they just dropped a bomb like they typically do. They wanted to make sure, because
They
when
were
you drop a
targeting them.
bomb, you have to understand this. So this is kind of so you understand how the occupation forces work. When they want to guarantee his death, they want to guarantee that they killed him, right? If they drop a bomb, you can't guarantee that all the time, because someone might survive under the blast, under the rubble, as we see some of these people getting pulled out of the rubble. When you target assassinate with like the Hellfire missiles, you guarantee it. So what they do is they're able to use like the heat. I forgot what that's called.
Oh yeah.
But like the
infrared,
thermal imagery.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
as soon as they see that there's no heat from human bodies, they know that those individuals have been killed. So if, for
Wow.
example, they see there's thermal imagery showing that someone survived or there's movement, then they launch another missile or whatever they do.
Yeah,
Wow, that's terrible.
A lot of what's coming out of this, they've got. There's been these various sort of AI devices that they've used to help them track people and identify them, and they basically have AI units now ordering strikes. Right, they have some of these things that are carried out without a lot of human intervention, right? They've like literally wired up the machine to the system now.
Well, it came out. It was brought up. Part of the issue with the AI that I want to say probably got a lot of attention last year when it became known that they were using AI, and I forget what the
there's one called the Gospel. They've got a couple of these different names.
Is they're following people until they get home. They're not killing them when they're on the street. They're waiting till they get home and they're with their families.
Yes.
And then they're bombing the buildings. So if you're targeting a certain individual, target that individual. You could have did it. I mean, you can see the precision strikes that they're able to do because when you see some of the target assassinations that they did in Lebanon or in Iran or whatever, you'll have someone in a high-rise building and there's no damage to the entire building, and it's just like a hole that a missile took out just one floor or one room, right? So they have the capabilities, but their agenda is mass destruction.
Yeah, I mean, and you see this sort of sick reporting too, like, oh, isn't this a marvel of technology? It's like, yeah, you know what? You know, it's a marvel of technology that they're going to use against you someday.
Yeah,
right?
and they're practicing it on us because they're showing how it's. Like there's a lot of new technology that is being used against the Palestinians in Gaza that is then being marketed at these military weapon conventions. And I mean, how disgusting is that? To show video of how something works on innocent people.
I mean, I forget who we were going to talk to about this, and I think this is another one of our shows that didn't happen yet or might happen still. But I remember. I saw these reports. I think it was from like Acción Palestina Chiapas or something. Because this stuff is happening all over the world, right? There's these Hezbollah campaigns all over the world, which I guess they're not calling it that now. They've changed the name.
They've changed the name because so Hezbollah for your listeners, so that they know the term Hezbollah is used by Israel, which is basically the Hebrew term for propaganda.
Right.
So because now
originally it just meant explanation, but now they've changed it. Now it's become their propaganda thing, and now there's too much awareness of that term of propaganda.
So they have a new word now.
They've got a new term for their propaganda now.
Yeah. And I forgot. I just read it the other day. And I forget what it is. So
I know. I forgot it too.
I think anytime an Israeli or Zionist opens their mouth, I know it's a lie, so I don't care what term you use. Like it's just it's like the three-letter word of lie.
It's like the broken clock. It's like eventually they will tell you the right thing after they've used up every other explanation.
Well, they won't tell you. They'll get. The truth will just come out naturally.
But I mean, I've seen this too before, where the story, it's like. You could like list every possible explanation for this person being assassinated, right? Oh, the other side did it. Oh, it was stray bullets. Oh, it's like, we did it on accident. Oh, we did it on purpose, but they deserved it. They're terrorists. Oh, we did this. It's like after like, eventually they've covered every possible explanation because they tried every single one that wasn't the worst. And every single one of those got bat down, and so eventually they settled on, it's the worst one, but that's okay.
I mean, we say when they make these accusations, and really Gaza has really showed the world and showed everyone everything that we've been saying for 77 years. Right. Like now people are able to, when you're telling someone a story.
You could go over to TikTok genocide and see everything, right? Although a lot of people just haven't seen it. I mean, a lot of people are like, still like, put their blinders on.
And those people just don't want to admit that they're dumb. But I'm sorry, but they are.
They're blinded deaf at least. I don't know if they're dumb, but they're
So I forgot what I was going to tell you about that.
If you've already seen and heard no evil, you probably shouldn't open your mouth anyway.
Say that we say every accusation is a confession because it's true. Yeah. So when at the beginning they tried to justify the genocide by saying, there were beheaded babies and babies in the oven and people burning. All turned out to be lies, and it was known, and obviously they knew they were lies, even though even people in our administration are still trying to use those lies. But then what happened? What did we see? We saw that the Israeli occupation forces were bombing and beheading babies, that people were being burned alive. So every accusation, the rape situation that they talked about, that not one person claimed rape. In fact, all of the hostages spoke only of how well
Well, I mean, there was that one lady that
but
said.
Then they
said
were
that
raping.
No, there was that one lady that said she was definitely raped because they looked at her for like 10 minutes.
Oh, they looked at her funny.
And it's like, and don't try to tell me that looking at me like for 10 minutes that way isn't rape.
Yeah, and then ironically, she actually got raped by her Israeli personal trainer.
Oh my God.
Right. I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
a fact.
So that's why we say every accusation that they make is a confession on their part.
Right.
What stands out for me in that instance is they kept saying that the militaries were using that Hamas was using the underground of the
Shifa Hospital.
Oh yeah.
And that wasn't the case, but they used that as a reason to be able to attack.
Well, because the first hospital that got bombed, if you remember, they said no, that was an armed missile.
Right.
That was from Hamas. Like it couldn't be. We would never bomb a hospital. And then after bombing 38 hospitals later, or however many there are that they've completely bombed. It's like they don't care to
they don't even bother to justify.
Yeah, they don't bother to justify.
Like what are they going to say? Hamas bombed them all.
Yeah.
However, there was an instance where
you can't trust the health ministry because it's run by Hamas. So the health ministry bombs the Hamas, hospitals, right?
But they did show where they had to admit that their own military, the Israeli military, had used underground of hospitals.
Well, yeah.
Well, in the middle of the city. So all of their Mossad, which is like the CIA or whatever, or FBI for the listeners, just understand, because it's very hard for me to say the word Israel without putting air quotes. So know that I'm always using air quotes.
I see. I can see them. I will attest that you are air quoting Israel.
I will always air quote unless I refer to. Usually, I just refer to it as occupied Palestine. But like in Tel Aviv, in the middle of the city, where they always say that the Palestinians are hiding behind human shields or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually, once again, we go back to every accusation is a confession, because they have all of their military stuff underneath a hospital, like their whole
I know. No, when Iran was attacking them, right, in that 12-day war, right?
Yeah.
You had Netanyahu and his war cabinet all went down and hid under a hospital. Right, I mean that was like, and that was all just reported. Like, oh well, of course we're going to hide under a hospital. I mean, it's the most logical place to hide, because who's going to bomb a hospital, right? The only people in the world who would hide to bomb a hospital would be us. And it's like, and they knew that, and they actually knew that there were tunnels under that one hospital, because they actually had built them.
Well, they're the ones who built
them.
Exactly.
Right, of course, because of course you need to build.
Well, I mean, the funny
in a hospital, right?
I think
the Palestinians make the best human shields, right? I mean, they have all these photos of them being tied to the tanks. Palestinian
tied to the tanks, and then they have, when they're going through the buildings that they've bombed out in the rubble, they actually have Palestinians that they force to go through that have things attached to them that they may go through first.
And
they'll even toss an IDF uniform on them and push them ahead, and then they'll release the video afterwards when they die and say, "Oh my God, look at this terrible atrocity that's occurred to one of our." It's like
it's unbelievable. I mean, it's just this is the things that are happening. Like you can't make up stuff like this. You know what I mean? Like I don't care, the most creative writer, the most creative.
I think there are people with pretty good imaginations out there.
Listen, I can't.
Most people
see
can't.
Anyone that has that. Okay, if you might be able to imagine some cool things, but the savagery of the occupation forces of Israel, of what they do, the disgusting things that they do,
and the extent,
and the lack of humanity within their society is disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, let me say, I'm back. Whenever you get one of these like stories, it's like too incredible to be believed. Like I'm willing to believe them, because I've seen like the reports that came out from like Guatemala during the 80s, right? Because they had this special unit, right, the Caibiles, who went out and they did things like kill a family, and then arrange the bodies around a table headless, like they're eating supper, and like they're all eating their own heads. Do all this weird stuff, right?
Well,
just set up these
you
crazy
guys are,
tableaus, and they were trained by the Israelis.
Yeah.
Well, of course, like so many of these like what do you call them? Fringe groups that are causing issues are been trained by the Israelis. But listen, on the flip side, you have the Israelis that are going in, killing everyone, and then wearing women's lingerie.
Right.
I mean, they're the women that they're killing, they're putting on their lingerie so they can take pictures for TikTok and Instagram, and they think it's funny, or they're playing with the children's toys that they just murdered and beheaded. You know, and going back to the whole rape, like they think it's funny. Like imagine.
Yeah,
that these prisoners, and some of them are doctors, and I don't even like to say prisoners, they're all hostages, are getting raped to death. Not just raped, like I'm not using that term as just a description. They're actually getting raped to death, right?
Wow.
And then because the world kind of was in an uproar about it, they arrested them. But then people were going in there raiding the jail system to have them released, and then the Knesset started discussing the legality to legalize rape of Palestinian hostages.
Yeah, they're protesting for the right to rape. Right, I know. It's there's and
the right to rape.
It's the right to rape. But the funny thing is that there's so many also accounts of female Israeli soldiers that are filing reports because they're being raped by their own whatever you call it, your other murder friends.
Yeah, I mean I think one thing that we touched on it a couple of times. I kind of just want to touch back on it here, because the technologies and the mindset and all this stuff, right? Right now. You see it. Well, you see it in its full force in Gaza, right? But you see it in the West Bank, right? You see it in a little bit in anywhere that any of these technologies are used, or wherever the Israeli trainers have come in. They have the Israeli trainers coming in for like Cop City and all these Cop City projects now to train U.S. police forces and how to deal with us as though we were the Palestinians, right? So
I mean, the tactic that they used against George Floyd was taught to them by Israel.
Wow.
And wait, air quotes. No,
yes. And the stuff that they have on the high tech stuff that they're installing on the border to prevent Mexican people from coming over, that's all Israeli technology too. It's like they're like world leaders in oppression and in oppression science, and they run everywhere around the world, and they teach this. And part of this, because this is another thing that came in some of this cop training. Part of the cop training isn't just like methods and techniques. Part of it is to overcome your psychology that might prevent you from arbitrarily murdering someone, and like learning to
and that's dangerous.
Cultivate that thing in your brain that lets you murder people more easily. That's part of the training that they've brought to U.S. police departments.
Wow. And I wasn't even aware of that part, but I mean that's so dangerous.
There was some expose where it's like, there was I think it was in Minnesota where in response to one of the police killings over there, and they said, well, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to have some better training for the police. So they had some training. And they brought in some Israeli guy to teach them how to murder people without feeling bad about it.
Wow!
And that was the training that they got. So you got to make sure when you train the cops, you give them the right kind of retraining, because it's like, and they're gearing up for something really bad here. I'm telling you.
Maybe that's why. I mean, and New York is known for it. California is known for it. Some of these big cities, obviously, and you see the way. The police department in New York treats the peaceful protesters and how they treat the aggressors. I was just when you saw the one, I don't know if you guys remember, there's the one post about this one girl that was just outside. She wasn't even part of a protest. So there was a Palestinian protest, and then there was a genocide protest, and so the Israeli genocide people attacked this one girl and she wasn't even part of the protest, but they just thought she was.
Oh.
And they literally, and you have the video, it was all over TikTok, of the guys calling her just very derogatory names, telling her that she should be raped, and did she want to be raped.
Oh,
There was
terrible.
actually a Jewish girl that was part of the protest that got beat to death. Not beat to death, till she was like bloody, like she had like blood all over her
wow.
face, and the police did nothing. And the girl that wasn't even part of anything, some cop was walking her to, I want to say protect her, but he wasn't doing a good job. He had this whole crowd of people. They were just circling them, and like nothing. No one was arrested to this day. And I think it's 6 months later, there have been no arrests. They just keep saying that they're investigating it, and they have
Wow.
clear video pictures of who everyone was.
Right. You can run it through some of that
Maybe
Israeli
they should run it through
technology
their
and find those
technology.
people. You can
They know who they are.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
even say
yeah.
they've told some of the people that have filed, because some of those individuals filed suit against the police department, against the mayor, and I forgot, and I forgot who else they filed, but there's a lawsuit that was filed against them for lack of transparency, lack of doing anything, and they're not getting any response, any information. They're not being updated at all.
Wow.
So.
I did want to get to some things that you've been doing here, as far as doing some organizing. You've been doing bike runs and car caravans and all kinds of protests to try to raise the issue.
Yeah, so there's a number of organizations. So I'll say that I'm not a part of organizing some.
Yes, Ihsan, you have personally been, why aren't you doing a better job of running the protests in the United States?
I'm the person that just organize it and I'll be there.
Yeah, okay.
I've got a big mouth. Give me the megaphone and I'll chant for you.
When you're there, it looks like you're the main organizer because you are loud.
I'm loud. I can get loud. For
And
whatever reason,
people
I'm only protesting.
Well, I'm pretty
to
good
you,
at getting
and-
loud too. I mean,
People listen to you, and it's like, oh, he's telling us to do that.
I think it's. Listen, there's so many people here in the city that are doing so much more work. That are I don't consider myself an activist. Honestly, I consider myself a Palestinian and a human being and a person that believes that all people should be treated equally. So I don't want to take away from the actual people that are really devoting so much time in organizing and putting these events together, because they do a wonderful job. And you're right. I mean, there's been so many different things, and I think the reason people may notice me more is because I try to attend to everything I can.
Yes,
so
yes.
I would say I probably hit a good 95% of anything that's out there. And so you're right. There's bike rides. There's car caravans. There's going to be a car caravan on Sunday. There's going to be a protest this Thursday.
6 p.m.
6 p.m. Code Pink and
Milwaukee for Palestine.
Right.
And I think Wisconsin Coalition is co-sponsor. I mean, they're putting their name on it, but I think it was organized by probably Code Pink and Milwaukee for Palestine. I don't know.
I always have to interrupt whenever we say this is happening Thursday, this is happening Saturday. We're recording this on August 12th.
Oh,
right.
Okay, so it'll have happened already. Okay.
No. This is coming.
What's today?
Well, I mean, if you listen to this broadcast a month from now, then it will have happened.
It will have happened,
yeah.
exactly.
But
No,
it's
you're right.
just important to get the date out so people know it's okay. So it's like today is Tuesday, so Thursday.
So it'll be the 14th will be the
14th.
Journal one,
Right.
and then Sunday is what after?
Yeah,
that?
So
6
the
p.m. at the
gathering
Milwaukee
outside,
Journal Sentinel.
6
right.
p.m. Outside what used to be the Journal Sentinel.
What's the old place?
It's
So
the
I
old
have
place.
the address.
All right.
I'm going to get you the address.
333 West State.
I believe you're right.
Okay, so the Milwaukee Journal building, but not the actual place where the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel actually is.
Hold on. I think 330 East Kilbourne.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
330 East Kilbourne Avenue, Thursday, August 14th.
They're old offices in downtown Milwaukee, not where they've moved to now in West Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think the initial one they put out was on State, but that one is they corrected the address.
Well, I mean, they've moved the Journal Sentinel is now like on Burnham in West Milwaukee.
Yeah, somewhere.
I
I'm
mean,
not sure.
it's-
Yeah,
oh
where
yeah,
it
no,
was.
it is. That's
We've
that
gone
okay?
past there.
And then
Yeah,
August 17th at 3 p.m. there's going to be a protest and car caravan at 1750 North Lincoln Memorial Drive. So that's organized by Wisconsin Coalition for Justice in Palestine. Sorry, my alarm was going off because I put it for 8:30. So there's a lot of different things, and I think what's very important, and this is I guess you can call it somewhat of a protest, but it's more of like a bringing awareness, is the Disarm DERCO campaign.
Oh, yes.
So this is a campaign. So DERCO is in our backyard. It's on the north side of Milwaukee. It's a subsidiary of Lockheed Martin, and they are responsible for providing parts and repairs for the fighter jets that are being used to bomb the innocent civilians in Gaza. It is the only one. There's other things that they manufacture, military equipment that is being used in Gaza, and I forget what specifically it is. It has to do with, I think, carrier things. But the jet engines are one of the main things. And this is, who would have thought this is in our backyard? And there's companies here that are complicit, that make money off of death. And war, and if there isn't war happening, they shut their doors, and so it's in their interest, and that's why we say, like, who's really controlling the government, who's running things? It's big business and the military-industrial complex, because if they don't have continual wars happening,
in terms of the running of the government, I honestly, it's like a lot of it has been sort of outsourced in sort of a fragmentary manner, right? I mean, the U.S. military-industrial complex might get its fingers a little bit into things like, for-profit education. But it's basically the for-profit education people that are interested in that. And the military is mostly interested in military stuff. And it's like, when people start to say, Israel controls the U.S. government. Israel controls U.S. policy towards Israel, right? It leaves a lot of the other stuff alone, right?
But it's not towards. You're right. I would say towards Israel, but people don't realize to what extent towards Israel. So they control it enough where our government, do we call them? I don't know if I can call them politicians anymore. I just call them our pedophiles, because I wonder why.
I don't know
if we can go that far. Okay.
No, I don't know.
Okay,
I think that's largely.
I'll take that back, but my fingers are crossed.
That's largely a distraction, I think.
Okay. But I do think that a lot of them are guilty of something. I mean, it just might be underage girls.
Some are, but I mean, it just.
Okay, well, I won't push that one.
Yeah,
but the fact is that
I know that's a hot
when they say
phrase,
it's Israel controls the United States, they control it to the degree that our government officials are willing to pass laws that are contradictory to the American Constitution.
Right.
Where freedom of speech is they're willing to restrict
criticism
freedom of
Israel.
speech.
You want to do something?
You can talk all you want about our government. You can talk all you want about anyone else.
You can burn the U.S. flag.
Yeah, but you can't burn the Israeli flag because that's anti-Semitic. Or even though it's kind of like the mural that I had put up where they tried to claim the whole anti-Semitism. They really lost. I mean, it's really unfortunate that they've tried to weaponize that because they've really hurt the Jewish community. For the true Jewish community who believes in humanity, the Zionists try to use and weaponize anti-Semitism because they say, for example, using the mural, they'll say, "Oh, well, the Star of David," but what they fail to mention is the Star of David is on the flag, which represents the state, right? The Star of David is on the tanks that are bombing innocent people. The Star of David is on the fighter jets that are dropping these 2,000-pound bombs on innocent people. The Star of David is being carved into the skin.
Yes,
on
but you're tarnishing the image.
So they, whenever it's convenient, it's a term that they've used that's really lost meaning. And I can honestly say nobody gives a damn. I can use say damn, right? Nobody gives a damn about that word anymore because they've basically, I think, they're causing more anti-Semitism. Israel and their behavior is causing more anti-Semitism than anyone else. There is no anti-Semitism. It wasn't a Jewish child that was killed by their landlord in Chicago. It wasn't 3 Jewish students that were shot, and one is now paralyzed. By some random crazy. it's not Jewish people that are being attacked on the street or at protests and beat with sticks during the encampments and things like that. So, you know, they want to claim anti-Semitism because they'll be like, well, I saw a poster and it hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
You know, well, I'm sorry that your feelings are hurt. There's people that are being genocided.
I think he was eating that slice of watermelon just to make me angry.
Using the watermelon.
Making me
Now,
sad,
watermelon,
you know.
the watermelon symbol is anti-Semitic. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The usage of this word. I mean, and I feel bad because, you know, and I want to say I appreciate and I stand proudly shoulder to shoulder with many Jewish people that are standing, you know, with us in this fight against the genocide, against apartheid, and people need to understand that the Jewish community is not represented by Israel. The Jewish community here needs to be recognized. When the media goes out and asks questions, you don't go ask questions to the Zionist or did I say Zionist Federation or Nazi Federation? Or I'm sorry, it's the Jewish Federation. They should be talking to real Jewish people like Jewish Voice for Peace.
I think they're those people are Jewish people too. I think, you know, there's just this incredible division right now, and you know it's. You know, you have people that are like in a community together, but are also deeply divided and deeply polarized, right? So to the point where it's like,
but how can you not be?
Yeah,
I mean, you either support genocide or you don't. So that is.
Yeah, it is.
There's no gray area. It's pretty black and white. So I mean, I will say, I mean, I base everything now. My relationships are based on that. I have zero interest in building a relationship with anyone that either supports the genocide or tells me that it's complicated, because it's not complicated at all. So I'm like, I mean, who I do business with now,
well,
it matters.
I mean, I might say it's complicated, but you know where I stand. You know, it's like I can find my way through. I mean, it's like
he's a lawyer.
I mean,
everything's complicated.
Everything's complicated. He complicates things. That's a problem.
Well, I mean, you don't need to know all the complications to have an answer, right? This is one of those things that you know.
Listen, I'm going to disagree with you on that, Gary.
The point from A to B is pretty direct, right? You don't need, if you're going and getting into all the complications, then you're answering some other question other than, you know, is it wrong? Because it's wrong, right? That's a very simple thing. I mean, you know, it's like, when is
you know what else is wrong?
When is that not wrong, right?
The existence of the illegitimate state of Israel.
That
needs to be dismantled, shut down, and like there needs to be more. Just like we needed to shut down Nazi Germany, we need to shut down the illegitimate pariah state of Israel.
Right. I mean,
it needs to not exist.
I mean, I'll agree with you that, but only at the end of like a long, complicated argument, because that one's tougher than should we keep on murdering children? That's a pretty easy one.
Gary,
no,
quit being so anti-Semitic.
Right. I know. That's a very anti-Semitic thing to say. And it's really
what is Rachel?
terrible.
I forget Rachel. She says
Rachel Buff.
Yeah.
Buff. Yeah.
What's her catchphrase about being anti-Semitic? She says it usually, and she's gonna be mad at me that I forgot it.
She may be mad at me that I forgot it too. It's like,
something is not an anti-Semitic thing to say. I think like Free Palestine or From the River to the Sea or something like that. I can't remember what it is, but anyways, I love her.
No.
I know
she's amazing.
I really like her. We've had her on the show. It's like, I'd love to have her back. I mean, it's like there's so much in terms of, you know, everything that's happening now and everything that Israel has done, right? Which I think you're right. I mean, they are the number one promoters of anti-Semitism anywhere. And they need to be, because if they didn't have anti-Semitism, they wouldn't even have a reason to exist, right? They could just live in peace and harmony without their own like racist state, you know.
They can go back to Europe, they can go back to Brooklyn, they can go back to Miami. I mean,
but they have no other place to go.
It's funny because when they all fled, they all had passports to other countries,
and they still often go back.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the people don't want them back. So that's what I've come to realize. Because I think to myself, why is the world staying silent about this genocide? How are they not like doing something? And I said, well, hot dang it, they don't want them to come back to their country. And so I somewhat understand now.
Perhaps,
it's
yes,
big sarcastic.
perhaps
But that was a deep thought for
well,
a second.
it's like,
but I do believe it.
Yeah.
I
think
do
some
believe they don't
people
want
that
they don't
may-
want them back
you may
because
be right on that,
because
on
they're
some
evil. Zionists are just evil people that need not exist on this earth, and that's my true view.
Okay, well,
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna make one of those uncomfortable Danny Haifong looks right now.
Here, I'll make it more comfortable since you guys are media.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about how the media and how disgusting it is that the media has been silent with all the journalists that are being killed, and how the true journalists are the journalists in Gaza that are sacrificing their lives to bring attention to what's happening, while all the Western media out here that claim to be journalists, which really aren't, you don't hear a peep. I mean, when you had Charlie Hebdo, how many world leaders went to that funeral? We have 238 journalists that have been murdered, and then that doesn't include their families that have been also murdered.
Yeah.
There hasn't been not one report, not, you barely see it, if you even see it on the media. Look at the protests. There's weekly protests here against the genocide. You never see the media out here bringing attention to it. But I can tell you right now that
I always avoid absolutes like never, because there's been a little fringe.
The mark looked kind of like a Star of David. They would turn it into a whole story that I slipped into anti-Semitism or something. Like so.
Yeah, right.
So it's just kind of disgusting, and I think that the Western media is very complicit in this genocide. I think they've aided more than they claim to admit by their false reporting and their lack of reporting.
I mean, I think that's. I think that's absolutely.
They need to be held accountable.
I keep in mind that there were people.
They overlook so much.
There were people.
They intentionally don't report.
There were people that were executed after the Nuremberg trials, simply for their media representations of things which were deemed to have facilitated the genocide, right? And we are seeing the types of things today, coming out of the mass media still, that, recycled hoax stories that have been intentionally designed to make Palestinians look bad and to help generate and justify evil will against Palestinians.
I mean, but that's intentional.
That is something for which people were hung. Right, after Nuremberg, this is just something that's not tolerable, right?
Yeah.
Even with our very liberal free speech values, that particular little hole, right, where you're promoting hatred against a group in order to justify violence against them.
But listen, this is an intentional strategy that's done by people that commit atrocities. I mean, the whole reason for demonizing the Palestinians, especially the male Palestinians, is to make it easy for them to do what they're doing. So when you demonize someone, and you have, unfortunately, just a lot of people that are very naive or ignorant and not aware of what's going on,
right,
it's easy for them to look at something and not care, because they're like, yeah, but, they're bad people.
Right.
Because they've never met.
That's changing now.
It's definitely changed. But I agree with you 100%. But it hasn't changed enough for people to rise up and go out into the streets and demand of their politicians, their representatives that they're voting for and putting in office, to vote differently, to make a change.
Right. I mean, you see people that have a 10% good voting record on Palestine, and it's oh, well, that puts them in the top 30 Congress people. Well, let's give them an award. I mean, it's like,
yeah. I tell people, I said, I'm not gonna commend you for doing what's right. Like that's your responsibility.
Yeah,
I
that's true.
appreciate it.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Oh, you
But it's like-
condemned the genocide. You want a cookie?
Yeah, you want, exactly,
You know,
right? You know, and so, I mean, it's really funny that people don't like look at this situation and relate it to themselves. You know, like to the simple fact of, wait, well, what do you mean they're occupied? Like, I don't understand why it's such a big deal. Okay, if it's not such a big deal, let me take over your house
Right.
and let me lock you into the bathroom, but I'm going to turn the water off too, and you can just stay in the bathroom. And if I feel like letting you out, maybe once in a while, I will.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's really that simple if you break
Yeah.
it down. But people are so consumed with their own lives, and I think the
Yes.
system is set up where they keep you busy with basketball games and football games and baseball games and movies and entertainment and what did the Kardashians do?
You have to work in order to be
Yeah.
able to have a house because
and all of this
you know,
stuff,
I mean,
and so they don't realize, and they think that, you know, Americans, and I'm an American, I was born here, right, are so ethnocentric and so naive to the fact to think that they're not affected by stuff. No, you can't afford health care.
Right.
Why are we sending our tax dollars to Israel
Right.
and they have free health care? You can't afford your education. Why are we sending our tax dollars to Israel so they can provide free education? You know,
Right.
all of these
Only to some
freebies that they
people.
get, housing, that they have free housing that they get from us. I mean, if a country depends on another country's money to exist, they ought not exist. They're not a
Free
legitimate
housing
country.
to set up a illegal settlement to take over someone else's land.
Yeah, well, listen. It's not even taking over someone. They literally will take your house and the belongings in it. I mean,
Oh, wow.
if you convert to
there's
Judaism
just-
right now and go back to Palestine, occupied Palestine, and go to Jerusalem, and want someone's house, you can go in there with the military backing. You know, there's people that live in Jerusalem, because obviously Jerusalem has a mixture of Muslim, Christian, Palestinians. I mean, the whole country has Muslim, Christian, Palestinians, but the concentration, because it's one of the, like, you know, that's where the base of the three monotheistic faiths are, right?
Right.
So there's people, Palestinians, that have never had someone, they've never left their house. There's been some family member that has always been in the house for over 50, 70 years. Why? Because if you leave the house completely, like
someone else
say
will just
everyone
come
goes
in
to a
and
wedding.
take it.
Say you're going to a wedding.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone is
Wow.
staying home. And even when someone stays home sometimes, they will come in
And throw them out.
and just stay
Oh
and
my
and throw them out.
gosh.
And even your belongings become their belongings.
It's just
I mean, this is what
unimaginable.
this is what people
you
don't
can't-
understand.
If you took over someone's house, you're not just going to take the piano and chop it up and throw it outside. It's a beautiful
I mean, they
piano.
can
Come
use
on,
that piano,
You know,
right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like, you know.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh.
you know, we'll
Yeah.
learn to play now.
they can
right?
cry themselves a river of anti-Semitism,
Right.
as they do that.
So I mean, we've got like a minute and a half
Okay.
left. You're
Okay.
very good at filling up the hour. I have to say that.
Listen,
you
that's
know.
because I talk a lot.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, well,
I just wanted to say real quick about the Disarm Durko campaign, because that's a campaign that Milwaukee for Palestine started. So I wanted to make sure that I gave recognition to them, and follow them if you want to follow that campaign and what they're doing for that campaign. But, you know, I just urge everyone to find their humanity, and to be a voice for the voices, and to step out there and talk to your representatives.
Find your self-interest, because it's all going to come back to you.
Absolutely.
And if not, I mean, look, you have all these nice liberal people that when Donald Trump says Mexicans are all rapists and thieves and whatever, they oh my God, this is just. And then you hear the stuff about Palestinians, and it's very similar. It's like, you know, make a
that's because they're
connection.
the establishment
You know,
people. If
I
they're
mean-
the establishment Democrats, you know, they need to recognize what's really going on.
We need to. I don't know what we need to do. We need a lot.
You know what? We
need a
need to
lot.
free
Yeah.
Palestine from the river to the sea.
All right.
All right.
That's
okay.
how we're going to end it.
Right.
That sounds good.
I'd say every time I drop about a watermelon drink in Mexico, I was tempted to say to the person, "Viva Palestina!"
There
And
you go.
I didn't, but I
Viva Palestina.
But I saw people in cafes down in Mexico City.
Listen, all over the world.
Yeah,
It's,
it is. It's amazing.
Everyone has become Palestinian.
Well, Palestinian.
All right. So actually, I don't even know if they're going to kick us off right on time. They probably will, but we got such a late start because everything was kind of messed up when we started. I don't know.
Our music hasn't started?
Oh, our
music
music
in the background.
I just expect.
Listen, you know what? You know what you guys should
we're
start
done.
playing?
We're done. Listen.
You got to play Death.